name's Sean Callagy. Welcome to Why Wednesday as we continue our conversation this week about the jump-off point for all self-awareness. It is Why Wednesday. We're here daily to connect and share with warriors like yourself, committed to your life of growth and mastery. And we're here with an awesome team here at Callagy Law. Say hello, folks.
Hello.
And so we're continuing our chat about this. This has been a huge point of our internal training of late. So this week so far, we've covered the idea that every response is a loving response or cry for help. If it's a cry for help, it's either fear of rejection or fear of failure. Yes, team?
Yes.
And so now we're also talking about the fact that there is no such thing, though, as rejection or failure. And like, how do we get to that place? So we discussed a little bit about failure. We'll talk about rejection right now. We'll come back to failure in a moment. If our fear of rejection is really a fear of loss of love or connection with other people. And it's fear of other people's opinions of ourselves, which all comes back to this idea of being rejected, not accepted, and this loss of love. You guys agree with that?
Yes.
And so here's how we can get ourselves to a very different place when it comes to fear of loss of love. The jump off point for that is really to love ourselves and to love everybody else. That is something that is extraordinarily challenging when we think about it, because we come from a world of judgment of other people. And I certainly grew up in a family that judged other people, and I was somebody who judged people, right? I said, okay, that's bad conduct, bad person. Or, quite frankly, if I did something that I didn't feel comfortable or happy about, I would judge myself and say that I'm bad, am I bad, and not love myself for it. And if I didn't perform at high levels, going back to my career as an athlete, if I didn't get hits in the game, I wouldn't talk to my family, I'd punish myself, and it was really all rooted in this fear of failure and fear of rejection. I feared that maybe I wouldn't start. I feel that maybe I wouldn't continue to be the leader. I wouldn't be seen the same way by my teammates. And so for a lot of us, what we can do is we can accelerate into a place of not loving ourselves and rejecting ourselves, so we do it before anybody else can. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Right? And when we begin to realize that the essential part of our existence to love other people, to help produce results and outcomes, albeit imperfectly, we're not robots. Life gets complicated. Lots happening. But when we realize that maintaining that love for ourselves and love for other people completely shifts and changes the way that we show up in complicated interactions when our fear begins to rise. So if you loved yourself and you realize that you love other people, and here's one final key distinction, but you stop caring about what other people think, because you realize that even if things change, right? Even if you lost your job, even if you lost a relationship, even if you declared bankruptcy, even if something more painful, really hard, painful things occurred, if we're still loving ourselves and loving other people, then we're not going to experience that loss of love. We're not going to experience that rejection the same way. And so much of the hindrance in leadership, in sales, inside the courtroom, in conducting ourselves and raising money for charities and leading other people is so stifled by our fear of rejection. It is so utterly and completely stopped the action that we're taking, rooted in that spot. Does that resonate with anybody here? Right? Can you think of ways that you haven't taken action in your life that you wanted, your dream, a goal, an outcome? And the real, if you keep pulling back, right, going to the core and the root, that it was somehow rooted at the end of the day in this fear of rejection. Anybody have anything like that you could share? Everybody's fearing rejection right now.
Yeah.
So has there ever been anything that you haven't done that you wanted to do because you were afraid of the outcome or result?
I took a year off school because I was raising my daughter and I didn't know if I was able to be a single mom so young and graduate from college, but I was able to do it. But it did take me a year and a half to enroll in school.
Awesome. Okay, but that was based in a fear of rejection? Or
yeah, fear of failure, definitely. I was really scared I couldn't do it.
Okay. Yeah. How about this, then I'll go first, see if this stimulates anybody. I've done 6,000 things out of fear of rejection. I haven't talked about some of these principles. Using the word love is super uncomfortable on these videos for me, right? It's not business-like, it's not warrior-like it seems. It actually is. And I was empowered to do it by some of the people I've been listening to, of late, but realizing how, I was afraid that would sound weird. I was afraid it would sound woo. So that was uncomfortable for me. I've pulled punches for a long time in the videos I've done in delivering what I know to be truth, because how our brains work and the science of achievement works. And by the way, let me just share this, that the science of achievement is so well documented across the board, the ability for us to produce results, studied by universities across the country, thousands of peer-reviewed papers. Who don't learn this stuff in school? And it like transitioned from, let's say, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, from a place of people like Napoleon Hill and Napoleon Hill, who predated the 50s, Dale Carnegie, sharing their viewpoints, Norman Vincent Peale, to a place now where this is a completely accepted science that people aren't learning in school, which I think is totally nuts. And so a part of the videos that we're sharing here is to help people become educated and understand these aren't like woo-woo concepts, this is science. This is how our brains work, our nervous systems work and function. There's papers on these things that are all over the place, how the growth mindset works. All of these things exist in real time, in the real world today, and we don't use it. It's like existing in the time of the caveman, where we're thinking that fire is magic. The results people produce are not magic. They're completely predictable based on patterns of behavior, and that's what we're sharing here on a daily basis. So when it comes to that fear of rejection, there's times that I'll walk into my vision challenges. I'll walk into a space and I'll feel uncomfortable. Like, okay, people are gonna think I'm weird. I can't really look people in the eye for sure exactly the way I'd like to. So, what are people gonna think? All that goes through my mind a little bit. Still, I'm substantially through it, but it still rises up for me. When I was, playing ball when I was a freshman, at Columbia, the upperclassmen drank and partied and all this stuff, and I wasn't gonna. But I feared their reaction, and in many ways they did react negatively towards me because I didn't succumb to what they were doing, and I started to play every game as a freshman, thankfully, and it created this divide, but it wasn't rejection. And even then, I think I was healthy enough to understand that it wasn't rejection, and that I was totally okay with it, but still, that fear of rejection affected me in other ways during my life. But the healthier we become in understanding that there is no such thing as rejection, and that we're loving ourselves, we're loving our value structures, we're accepting our imperfections, our mistakes, and we're treating others the same way. Realizing that when they come at us with their energy, their complaints, their upset, their frustration, what they're really fearing is somehow a fear of rejection, where they're feeling fear of failure. That we didn't give them the significance and the connection that they wanted, they expected from us. And when that doesn't happen, people get really upset. And then we get defensive and we react out of our own fear of rejection. The way we can snap and break these cycles to realize there is no rejection. And if you can own that in your heart, and you can take yourself forward, your love of yourself and love of other people regardless of what happens, and the way we effectively confront is not from a place of ego, because it's not okay to be abused. It's not okay to let people harm us. It's not okay to rationalize and explain away the behavior of others by simply saying, okay, well, there was a fear of their failure or fear of rejection. That's where it was coming from. It's not okay. But we can confront and be honest and open, have a conversation about it. We'll talk in later videos about the technical skill sets of how to do that. But coming emotionally from that jump off place of saying, okay, I'm not going to react to my own ego, which is my own fear of rejection and failure, to match their fear of rejection and failure. I'm going to interrupt this pattern, take a deep breath, and approach this in a much, much healthier way. So the lesson point for this Why Wednesday, and our whys, what drives us forward emotionally, is to realize that we want to meet certain human needs, and the enemy of those human needs is our fear of failure and fear of rejection. And the way through that is to realize they don't exist. Nothing is big enough or final enough to ever be failure. So yet is the power word that overcomes it. I haven't done it yet, haven't achieved it yet, I didn't get the results I wanted yet, right? And conversely, on the other side, is to realize that if we love ourselves, we love other people, there can be no loss of love, there can be no rejection. So I am Sean Callagy, it's Why Wednesday. I know these have been a little bit longer this week, but we're laying down some awesome material and framework to help ourselves, moving forward, to help you really help ourselves internally. So have an awesome day. Thank you.